A simple children's game with 6 steps can only be found if you pass all these steps. The prize is worth around 45.6 billion won. It sounds very easy, but it is not. If it is said that those who lose in this game face a certain death as punishment, can people knowingly live and die? Join the strange game to defeat death. Can anyone win such a huge amount of prize money? If you want to know, let's dive into Netflix's Squid Game, one of the most talked about series, and explore its season. Seong, the main character, is introduced at the start of the drama as a man struggling with poverty and personal troubles. It's his son's birthday, and his mother gives him some cash, urging him to take his son out for dinner. However, the money isn't enough to cover the expenses Seong has in mind. Desperate for more, he makes a reckless decision, stealing his mother's ATM card and withdrawing all her savings. Seong takes the stolen money to a horse racing track, gambling it all in a desperate attempt to multiply it. To his relief, he wins a staggering 4 million won. But Seong's troubles are far from over. He had previously taken out a loan from a dangerous company, and now their enforcers are after him. These men abduct and brutally beat him, demanding their money back. When Seong reaches into his pockets to retrieve the funds, he is shocked to find them gone. His winnings from the horse race have vanished. He then recalls bumping into a young woman while fleeing from the loan sharks. Realization dawns. This woman must have stolen his money, tearing his pocket in the process. Seong, left with nothing, is given a grim ultimatum. He has 1 month to repay the debt. Determined to salvage his situation, Seong gathers whatever funds he can and takes his son out for a modest meal. Afterward, he hurries to the train station, hoping to catch a ride back home. Unfortunately, he misses the train and is left sitting on a bench, dejected. While waiting, a well-dressed stranger approaches Seong. The man, calm and composed, strikes up a conversation, offering Seong a chance to play a simple game for money. Intrigued by the promise of 100,000 won per win, Seong agrees, desperate to make some quick cash. The game turns out to be physical and humiliating, with Seong enduring repeated slaps each time he loses. After much effort, Seong finally wins a round, earning the promised amount. Before leaving, the stranger hands Seong a mysterious card with a phone number, inviting him to contact the number if he wants to earn even more money. Returning home, Seong is greeted by distressing news from his mother. She informs him that his ex-wife plans to move to the United States next year with her new husband and Seong's daughter. This revelation devastates Seong, as he cannot bear the thought of his daughter being so far away. Determined to secure enough money to fight for custody, he decides to call the number on the card. Seong is picked up in a car along with other participants, all of whom are sedated during the ride. When they wake up, they find themselves in a massive, enclosed facility with 456 other individuals. Each of them is dressed in a numbered uniform, and it soon becomes clear that they are all here to participate in a series of games. The host of this facility, known only as the frontman, observes the players from a distance. A common thread binds these participants together. They are all heavily in debt, with no other way out of their dire circumstances. Seong meets Player 001, an elderly man with a brain tumor who is nearing the end of his life. Despite his frail condition, the old man seems content to be there, viewing the situation as a final adventure. Tensions rise when 2 players, Se-byok, a young woman, and Jung, a hostile man, get into an argument. Seong immediately recognizes Se-byok as the pickpocket who stole his horse racing winnings. He confronts her, demanding the return of his money, but their exchange is interrupted by guards dressed in pink uniforms with their faces concealed. The guards explain the rules. The players must participate in 6 games, and the ultimate winner will receive a life-changing amount of money. They are required to sign a contract with 3 key rules. No player may voluntarily withdraw from the game. Players who fail the game will be eliminated. If the majority agrees, the games can be terminated. With the rules set, the players are led to the first game. Seong is surprised to reunite with Sang-woo, a childhood friend and former classmate, who is also among the participants. Together, they brace themselves for the challenges ahead. Unaware of the grim reality the word eliminated truly entails. Seong is shocked to see his childhood friend Sang-woo among the players. Sang-woo was thought to be abroad for a successful business venture, so his presence here raises many questions. Before Seong can process this, the first game begins. In the game area, a massive doll towers over the players. The rules are explained. When the doll sings, players must move forward. The moment the singing stops, they must freeze. Any movement detected after the doll stops singing will result in elimination. Initially, it all seems like a harmless, albeit peculiar game. But the tone changes drastically when one of the players, unable to remain still, moves slightly after the singing stops. The consequence is horrifying. A gunshot rings out and the player collapses, lifeless. The grim truth of elimination becomes clear. It means death. Panic spreads like wildfire among the players. Many begin to run in all directions, trying to escape. However, the automated system detects their movements, and one by one, they are gunned down mercilessly. The remaining players are paralyzed with fear, realizing that their only chance of survival is to follow the rules of the game. As the chaos subsides, the survivors gather their courage and focus on completing the task. Slowly but steadily, they make their way across the field, timing their movements with the dolls singing. After what feels like an eternity, the game ends. Only 255 players remain alive out of the original 456. The dead are swiftly removed, leaving the survivors to confront their terror. Fear and despair grip the players, many of whom are now unwilling to continue. As per Rule 3, if the majority votes to end the games, all players can leave. The frontman initiates a voting process, but first reveals the staggering prize money, a total of 45.6 billion won, displayed in a massive glass piggy bank. The catch is that if they choose to end the games, the money will instead be distributed to the families of the deceased players. The vote is held, and the decision is close. In the end, the majority votes to stop the games. The players are released and return to their homes, but they are informed that they can rejoin the games later if they choose. The following day, Seong visits the police station to report the horrifying events. He describes the facility, the games, and the killings, but the officers dismiss his claims as the ravings of a delusional man. Seong even presents the card he was given, but when the police dial the number, it turns out to be incorrect. Frustrated and disheartened, Seong returns home. At home, he finds his mother missing. Meanwhile, Sang-woo secretly visits his own mother, burdened by his overwhelming guilt. He confesses to Seong that he is drowning in debt, over 6 billion won. Sang-woo reveals that he lost all the money he had borrowed, including his client's investments, by gambling it on the stock market. His once promising life is now in shambles. Seong then receives a call from the hospital with distressing news. His mother's untreated diabetes has caused a severe foot infection, requiring urgent surgery. The doctor informs Seong that to save her life, her foot must be amputated. However, the surgery and subsequent treatment will require a significant amount of money, which Seong does not have. Worse, he has already depleted his mother's insurance funds. Desperate, Seong turns to his ex-wife for help. When he asks for money, she refuses outright. Her new husband intervenes, offering Seong a small sum, but making it clear that he must stay away from their family. This infuriates Seong, who lashes out and begins to beat the man in a fit of rage. The altercation is witnessed by Seong's young daughter, who arrives at the scene just in time to see her father's violent outburst. Ashamed and overwhelmed, Seong realizes how far his life has spiraled out of control. Meanwhile, Sae-byok, the girl who stole Seong's money, meets with an agent. Her goal is to bring her mother from North Korea to the south, a plan that requires significant funds. Sae-byok is driven by her promise to reunite her family, including her younger brother, who she has been caring for since their separation. Elsewhere, a police officer is introduced. He's searching for his missing brother, who hasn't returned home in days. While inspecting his brother's apartment, The officer discovers a card identical to the one Seong had shown at the police station. Intrigued and suspicious, the officer approaches Seong to question him about the card. Seong, however, denies knowing anything and brushes him off. Later, Seong finds another card at his home. Realizing he has no other options to escape his dire financial situation, Seong decides to rejoin the games. This time, all the players are transported near a ship. Unbeknownst to them, the police officer has been tailing the vehicles. In a daring move, he subdues one of the guards, takes his uniform, and infiltrates the facility. The players are taken to an island, unaware of the challenges that lie ahead. At night, Se-byok and another female player sneak into the washroom, managing to evade the guards temporarily. Se-byok explores the facility and discovers guards cooking something in enormous pots. Suspicious, she quickly returns before being caught. She shares her findings with her companion, but Sang-woo overhears them. When Sang-woo questions her, she explains what she saw. The next game begins. The players are presented with 4 shapes: circle, triangle, star, and umbrella, and are instructed to choose one. Sang-woo, realizing the nature of the game, subtly advises his team to pick different shapes to increase their chances. The players are then handed small pots containing honeycomb candy with their chosen shapes imprinted on it. The objective of the game is revealed. Players must carefully extract their chosen shapes from the candy without breaking it. Failure means elimination, which is fatal. Sang-woo easily completes his task, but Seong struggles, panicked and sweating as the timer ticks down. In a moment of desperation, he uses his tongue to soften the candy, delicately removing the shape. Against the odds, Seong succeeds and survives. After the game, only 187 players remain, reduced from the initial 456. However, another event unfolds during mealtime. Jung-jae, a violent and aggressive player, instigates a fight over food. In a brutal display, he kills another player, demonstrating the lawlessness within the facility. It is revealed that a corrupt doctor among the players is working with a group of guards to harvest organs from the dead and sell them to Chinese buyers. To cover their tracks, the guards erase all evidence by tampering with the facility's surveillance system. In exchange for his cooperation, the doctor is given advanced knowledge of the upcoming games to ensure his survival. The guards deliberately provide less food during dinner, knowing it will incite violence among the players. Their intention is to thin out the weaker contestants before the next game. As anticipated, chaos erupts when the lights go out. Yang and his team take advantage of the situation, attacking and killing several players. In the midst of the frenzy, Jang attempts to target Se-byok, but Seong intervenes just in time to save her. The guards eventually restore order, but by then, only 80 players remain. The following day, the players are informed that the next game requires teams of 10. Realizing the importance of strategy, Sang-woo carefully assembles his team, including Seong, Se-byok, and a few others. The game is revealed to be tug of war. The objective is simple, yet brutal. Pull the opposing team off the platform, causing them to fall to their doom. The first match begins, and Jang's team easily overpowers their opponents, securing a decisive victory. It was now Sang-woo's team's turn for tug of war. Player 001, the elderly man, confidently declared that he had played tug of war many times in his life. Drawing on his experience, he provided strategic guidance: maintain balance, grip the rope firmly, and lean back to maximize their pulling force. With his advice, combined with their determination, the team managed to win against all odds. After the match, the players were brought back to their dormitory. They were informed that the lights would be turned off in 30 minutes, prompting Sang-woo to suggest that they take turns standing guard to protect themselves from potential attacks. Tension grew as alliances began to shift. Jang, the aggressive leader of a rival team, started to suspect that his own teammates might betray him for their survival. Meanwhile, the illicit organ trade continued in secret. Guard numbers 28 and 29 were tasked with delivering harvested organs. As they prepared for the delivery, they discussed a previous subject who had only one kidney, referring to them as the zombie. Unbeknownst to them, Guard 29 was actually the undercover officer who had infiltrated the facility. Hearing their conversation, the officer realized they might be talking about his missing brother, who also had one kidney. As guards 28 and 29 moved to deliver the organs, they passed through a tunnel rigged with explosives. Guard 28 mentioned that the entire facility would be destroyed once they left the island. Seizing the moment, the officer pressed for more details. Growing suspicious, Guard 28 demanded that the officer remove his mask. As the officer complied, he swiftly pointed his gun at Guard 28, demanding answers about the person referred to as the zombie. Guard 28 revealed that the zombie was not a man, but a girl, and directed the officer to the leader's room, where all the participants' records were stored. Before the officer could act, a confrontation ensued, ending with the officer killing Guard 28 to protect his cover. Elsewhere, the doctor, who had been complicit in the organ trade, grew increasingly frustrated. He demanded to know the details of the next game, but the guards claimed they had no information this time. Enraged, the doctor attacked one of the guards and attempted to escape. His escape led him to the playground, where a guard pursued and eventually trapped him. Before the guard could eliminate the doctor, the leader arrived. Displaying no tolerance for disobedience, the leader executed both the doctor and the rogue guard, ensuring that their secret operation remained concealed. While navigating the facility, the officer discovers the lifeless body of Guard 28. This confirms his suspicion that someone is orchestrating covert operations within the facility. Determined to uncover the truth, the officer sneaks into the leader's quarters. While searching, he stumbles upon a room filled with detailed records of the games, including the names of past winners. To his astonishment, he finds his brother's name listed as a previous winner. Meanwhile, the players are assembled for the fourth game and are instructed to choose a partner. Initially, this announcement brings relief, as most players assume they'll be working together. They eagerly form pairs, with each person selecting someone they trust. However, Sae-byok's female friend struggles to find a partner, as no one is willing to team up with her. Once everyone has a partner, the game's actual rules are revealed. Each player receives 10 marbles, and the objective is to take all 10 marbles from their partner without using force. The person left without marbles will be eliminated. This shocking revelation turns allies into adversaries. Sang-woo pairs up with Seong's friend, and they agree to play a game of odds and evens. The premise is simple. One player hides a certain number of marbles in their hand, and the other guesses if the number is odd or even. Initially, Seong's friend dominates the game, winning nearly all of Sang-woo's marbles. By the final round, Sang-woo is left with just one marble, staring down the reality of his impending doom. Desperate, Sang-woo devises a cunning plan. He deceives Seong's friend by claiming that losing players might have a chance to replay the game. Under this false pretense, Sang-woo distracts his friend and secretly swaps the marbles for stones. Believing Sang-woo's story, Seong's friend hands over his marbles, trusting him completely. Sang-woo delivers the real marbles to the guards and secures his survival. Later, Seong's friend realizes the betrayal when he finds stones in place of his marbles. In another corner of the arena, Seong is paired with player 001, the elderly man. Due to the old man's frailty, Seong hesitates to play, but player 001 insists. They also play the odds and evens game. Surprisingly, the old man outsmarts Seong, winning most of his marbles. As the game progresses, however, the old man starts to act confused, seemingly forgetting his choices during critical moments. Sensing an opportunity, Seong uses the old man's apparent confusion to his advantage and takes back the marbles. However, before the game ends, the old man reveals his true awareness. He confronts Seong, saying, "I know you cheated to take my marbles. I pretended to forget, but I knew everything." This admission leaves Seong feeling deeply ashamed. The old man's words strike a chord, and Seong, overcome with guilt, hands back the marbles. Moved by Seong's gesture, the old man smiles faintly and says, "You have a good heart, even in a place like this." The round concludes with heavy hearts, as some players walk away with their lives, while others face the grim reality of the game's stakes. Sae-byok and her female friend are tasked with a simple game. Whoever throws their marble closest to the wall wins. Sae-byok goes first, carefully tossing her marble. When it's her friend's turn, she unexpectedly throws all her marbles in one go. Surprised, Sae-byok urges her to try again, but her friend refuses. Her friend softly says, "Sae-byok, I have no one waiting for me. I'm alone in this world. But you have your brother depending on you. You need to survive." With those final words, Sae-byok's friend sacrifices herself, leaving Sae-byok devastated. The dead bodies are taken away, and the remaining players are returned to their quarters. Back in the room, Jang notices Sae-byok sitting quietly, consumed by grief. He realizes that Sae-byok's friend, now deceased, was someone he knew as well. Their history is revealed. Jang and Sae-byok's friend had clashed in the past, with Jang harboring resentment after being bullied by her. Meanwhile, the frontman discovers an ID card near a dead body, which belonged to the undercover officer. The realization that someone has infiltrated the facility adds tension. As the frontman receives news of the VIP's arrival, he shifts focus to greeting them. These VIPs, wealthy elites who enjoy watching the games, are brought to their exclusive viewing rooms. The next day, the fifth game is announced. The players are presented with numbers ranging from 1 to 16 and must choose their number, which determines their turn in the game. Seong faces a dilemma. Should he pick the first number and take the risk of unfamiliarity with the game, or choose the last number, risking the chance of never getting his turn? As he hesitates, another man approaches and requests the first number. "I've never been first in anything my entire life," the man says, convincing Seong to let him take it. The players are then taken to the gaming area, where the rules are explained. The task is to cross a long bridge within the time limit. The twist? The bridge is made of two types of glass. One is ordinary and will shatter under their weight, while the other is tempered and strong enough to hold them. The players must step carefully, guessing which glass is safe, as a single wrong move will send them plummeting to their deaths. The game begins, and players are eliminated one by one. Jang, positioned at the front, hesitates to move, causing frustration among the others. Eventually, his former bully pushes to the front. She confronts Jang and reminds him of her earlier vow. "I told you, when you deceived me, that I'd be the end of you." With a fierce determination, she grabs Jang and jumps, sacrificing herself to eliminate him. As the game progresses, a man who worked in a glass factory steps up. Using his expertise, he identifies the tempered glass. The frontman, observing this, orders the lights turned off to remove the advantage. In the chaos, Sang-woo, Seong, and Sae-byok manage to cross the bridge, but not without injury. The shattered glass sends shards flying, wounding all three, with Sae-byok sustaining the most severe injury. Meanwhile, the undercover officer continues his mission. Disguised as a servant, he follows a VIP who grows suspicious of him. The VIP demands he remove his mask, to which the officer agrees but insists on doing so in private. Once alone, the officer overpowers the VIP, rendering him unconscious. The frontman learns of this and begins pursuing the intruder. The officer escapes to a nearby island, attempting to send proof of the games to his superiors. However, the lack of a stable network leaves his efforts futile. The frontman eventually corners the officer, urging him to surrender and come back peacefully. Refusing to comply, the officer shoots the frontman. In a shocking twist, the frontman removes his mask, revealing himself to be none other than the officer's brother. This revelation leaves the officer stunned. Before he can process the betrayal, the frontman shoots him, and he falls into the water below. Back at the facility, the remaining survivors, Sang-woo, Seong, and Sae-byok, are treated to a formal dinner. Despite the luxurious setting, the atmosphere is heavy with tension and despair, as Sae-byok continues to bleed from her injuries. A knife is placed ominously near the remaining players during the night, signaling a grim implication. One of them may kill another before morning. Seong notices Sae-byuk's worsening condition and stays by her side. Gently, he reassures her, "Don't worry, Sae-byuk. We're in this together. We'll defeat Sang-woo and split the money. You'll see your brother again." Through her pain, Sae-byuk reveals a heartfelt truth. "I left my elder brother in an orphanage. If one of us makes it out, promise to take care of both families." Her condition deteriorates further, and Seong decides to seek medical help. While he is away, tragedy strikes. When Seong returns, he finds Sang-woo standing over Sae-byuk's lifeless body. Overcome with grief and rage, Seong's resolve hardens as they prepare for the final game. The next day, the remaining two players are led to the last game, the Squid Game. The rules are simple but brutal: survive or die. As the game begins, the tension erupts into an intense and brutal fight. Sang-woo and Seong battle ferociously, driven by desperation and the stakes of life and death. In the end, Sang-woo is left gravely wounded. Seong, torn between hatred and humanity, refuses to deliver the final blow. Instead, he steps back and says, "Let's stop this madness. Come with me. We don't have to finish this game." But Sang-woo, filled with regret and unwilling to face the aftermath of his actions, makes a final choice. He takes his own life, leaving Seong as the last player standing and the ultimate winner of the deadly competition. The frontman congratulates Seong, saying, "You've played well, but I didn't expect this outcome." Seong is then dropped off at his home with an ATM card. Checking it, he discovers that the enormous prize money has been transferred to his account. However, the victory feels hollow. Entering his house, Seong finds his mother has passed away, leaving him devastated. A year later, Seong is unrecognizable, living in despair and addicted to drugs. The money remains untouched, a haunting reminder of the cost of his survival. One day, while lost in thought, a flower seller approaches him and hands him a card. The same type of card that started it all. On the back, an address is written. Driven by curiosity and anger, Seong follows the address and makes a shocking discovery. Player 1, the old man, is alive and waiting for him. The old man confesses everything. "I was tired of life, so I created these games with my clients to entertain myself. Watching people's greed and desperation fascinated me, but no one was forced to participate. They made their own choices. I even joined the game because playing was more thrilling than watching." He adds, "The money you have, it's mine." After this chilling revelation, the old man passes away. Haunted by these words, Seong decides to make amends in his own way. He visits Sae-byuk's orphaned brother and takes him to Sang-woo's mother, entrusting her with the boy's care. Along with the child, he leaves her a bag filled with money, ensuring they both have a chance at a better future. As Seong prepares to leave, he encounters the same mysterious recruiter who introduced him to the games. Recognizing him, Seong gives chase, but the man escapes once again. Determined to uncover the truth, Seong calls the number on the card. When the line connects, he demands answers. "Who are you? Why are you doing this? Why destroy people's lives for your games?" The voice on the other end offers a cryptic warning. "Seong, get on the plane if you want to live." As Seong stands at the crossroads of his fate, the story ends, leaving us with lingering questions and the chilling reality of the game's dark influence. Thank you for watching.